welcome all of you to another session of Saptarishis Astrology YouTube channel. And today we have one of our authors on board. So please help me welcome Shri Vishal Sharma ji. Vishal ji, welcome back to our YouTube channel. And thank you so much for coming. And please tell us what you're going to talk about.
Thank you, Madhura. Again, thank you for inviting me, and thank you to Sunil ji and Saptarishis Astrology for giving me the opportunity again to come back and talk about my book, which is Astro and Vastu Remedies for Successful and Effective Life. So I think we are going to discuss that. We have discussed some of the options in the previous interview as well, but there's a lot of feedback which has come.
Yes.
To give more insights in the book, so hence we are doing this again. So that's the book which we launched or published a couple of weeks ago via Saptarishis Astrology.
Yes.
And so we're going to talk about some other planets and nakshatras and something more on the Vastu side and also on the decluttering side of things. Let's just go ahead into that without wasting any time. Again, before I start, as I said in the last interview, again, my sincere gratitude to Sunil ji and the Saptarishis Astrology team for helping me and putting it together for everyone. So again, my sincere gratitude and appreciation for Sunil John and Saptarishis Astrology. I guess the book, as I said previously as well, and let me reiterate that the book actually covers a combination of remedy and solutions for not only for nakshatras, and then obviously there are specific problem-based remedies as well, which is being suggested, which is separate from remedies for each planet. In addition to that, book also encompasses a good insight on how Vastu Shastra can be used to tackle your day-to-day problems. And obviously, there is more on that side at the end. Book also has got a specific chapter on decluttering, which I personally believe is a huge thing we must do on decluttering. And so that's something has given me good results when I have consulted others or advised others on decluttering. And finally, the book also has got an appendix which covers all the mantras in English, even though they are mantras in Sanskrit, but they are all available in English so that people don't have to go onto the net or somewhere else to refer that. So the book does cover that.
Wow, wonderful.
So we are going to cover one planet, one nakshatra, and one direction, as we have covered in the previous one, and something around decluttering.
Yeah, that's great.
I guess the point which I highlighted last time, and a lot of people have reached out to me and also to Saptarishis Astrology on the Facebook forum, as also on the YouTube and on WhatsApp. I suggest that this is a book on remedies, but that doesn't mean that you can do everything on your own. So my book is there. It's a good collection of everything which you can get in one single place. But suggestion is that you still need to do a proper consultation with any astrologer who's well equipped with sharing that advice. And also, if you want to do anything in the Vastu or decluttering, I would highly encourage you to do a proper consultation before you start implementing these remedies or these solutions.
Yes, it is like a doctor and medicine. You have to consult.
Yes. So it's this is the medicine here, but you still need to tackle that, and you just can't look into the chart and say, look, this particular planet is causing the grief to you or causing an issue. You have to look holistically at the whole chart and then come up with, okay, what is the best 2 or 3 solutions I can implement. You just can't say, oh, sorry, Saturn is impacting me or Rahu is impacting me. There is more which you have to explore to figure it out what is happening. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I've covered this one. The classification is that, the point about the classification is that, not every remedy will work for each zodiac, and that's the point I have tried to portray in the book, is that if Sun is sitting in a fire sign, or if Sun is sitting in a earth sign, or if Sun is sitting in a water sign, then the remedy solution actually changes. So that's really important, that you just don't take a window brush and paint it that Sun's remedy is just donate wheat, for example. Wheat is represented or wheat is for Sun. You just go and donate for that. For different zodiac, it's a different remedy. So element plays a bigger role. obviously each zodiac where the planet is sitting, the direction plays an important role on what direction you have to go and do that remedy. Hora is nothing but the time of the day where you perform that remedy, because during the day, every hour has got a different hora. So different planet represents different time. So you choose that time which is going to give you the desired result for that particular planet. The other thing is, what is the caste of that planet? What is the Ayurvedic nature of that planet? And how does that impact you? Again, this is there in the book just to give you the insights of each planet. And once you understand the planet, I would say that once you get a good understanding of the planet and its attributes, then you can actually don't have to follow all the remedies in the book. You can actually come up with your own remedies as long as you are proficient in astrology and Vastu. So anybody who is practicing astrology, it's actually good for them to get this feel and then figure it out what is the right remedy. You just don't have to go what is in the book. You can come up with your own remedies. But for that, you have to be proficient in astrology and Vastu.
Right.
Okay, again, the important thing is that the book covers 9 planets, 27 nakshatras, and Vastu. For each planet, there are 9 different types of remedies. So you can figure it out in the book, or it is being mentioned, covered in the book, that for each planet, there will be a mantra for recitation, what mantra should be used, right? And there are a couple of suggestions there, what puja to be performed, what plants you can put in there to help the planet, what is the type of donation or charity you do, what type of fasting or which day of the fasting, what items you can wear, whether it is a gemstone or rudraksh, right? What yogas you can do. And finally, there's also precautions. Remedy is one part that you tackle that, but also some precautions needs to be taken depending upon the planet is sitting in 12 different signs. So that way, you have got 12 different flavors of 8 different flavors of remedies, which you can cherry pick and do it and figure it out what is the best for you. On top of that, I have then taken out a theme-based remedies, right? So, people have issues to pay their debt or doing well in their career progression, or if they're having a relationship issue. Big section in planets as well as in nakshatras to tackle those problem statements. So you can just go in and look at that and check what is that problem and what is the solution. But again, just reiterating that, right? You can't just go in isolation and pick up that remedy.
Yes.
Okay, I guess the last time we covered some next planet, which is Moon, and as you know, Moon represents our emotions, and Moon represents our mother. Right? So Moon is a vital element, and wherever Moon is placed, that becomes our birth star or birth zodiac. Right? So it has an important role to play, and as long as our emotions are controlled, that will lead to the right actions in the life. So it is vital that we control our emotions. If we don't have a control on our emotions, then we will make a wrong call, or we will not be able to make the right judgment on what actions to be executed in the life. So that's why it is very important that we look after our moon, or we know what is our birth star and control the moon, or at least manage the moon, right? So for that, some of the things which I have suggested in the book, this is not the whole list, but just some of it from the book, is that for moon, and if you're going to do for a remedy for a moon, specifically if it is weak, then you can recite Annapurna Stotra, which is nothing but something which came from Goddess Parvati, right? So there is a story, a mythological story about that. But that's something which I recommend everyone. If you want to do it, you can do that, and it is also given full in detail in the appendix. The other thing people can do, if they can't recite the whole stotra, which takes only 5 minutes, then they can just do a Navgraha stotra, which is the moons, which is mentioned here. My suggestion is to do it, every day, at least 108 times. But if you can't do every day, at least try it on Monday. That's the day which is represented by moon. So then there are a few more mantras mentioned in the book, but these are the 2 ones I have highlighted here. In terms of doing any jap or puja, moon, Lord Krishna represents moon. So if you want to worship Lord Krishna, that will help you controlling your emotions. So that's one of the simplest ones that you can do. Anything to do with Lord Krishna, you worship him. You look disciple of Lord Krishna, that in controlling your emotions. The other thing you can do is Rudra Abhishek, which is basically worshipping Shiva or Shiva Linga on Monday. And as you know, Shiva has control of not only moon, because Moon sits in his head. So if you look at Shiva, Moon is always in his head. Ganges flows through his head. Saturn is part of Shiva. Ganesh is the son of Shiva. So if you worship Shiva, you're not only just tackling Moon, you're actually tackling, or you're trying to manage so many other planets.
Yes, true. Very
Ketu as well. Right, and there is a story about Hanumanji as well, that Shiva has something to do with Hanumanji as well. So Mars is also tackling. So there are 3 or 4 planets you are tackling with Shiva. So I would say worshipping Lord Shiva is very beneficial. So if you can do Rudra Abhishek on Monday, that will be fantastic. I guess the other one is Moon being the queen of the planet. Any Devi Puja is also recommended. So if you want to do any Devi Puja, that is highly recommended. And so that goes to that Annapurna Stotra as well, that it's a puja. There are mentioned here for puja for Moon. I guess once you do that, if you want to do specifically, if you can't do that and you are into environmental science, or you're more you love nature, then you can plant some trees. And for specifically to tackle Moon, Palash, which is also named as flame of forest, that's one thing which we recommend for Moon. If you can grow that and look after it, it will help you in controlling your emotions. The other option is that you can keep Ceylon ironwood trees root wrapped in a cloth on a white cloth with you, so that will also help your emotions. So any tree which is predominantly has got that feature which gives you some sort of a milk as a fluid, it will also help you. But again, cactus is something which we don't recommend anyone as in general. But these are some of the plants which I have mentioned, which you can keep, or the roots of that plant can also be kept, or flowers can be kept just to help through your emotions.
Yes.
The next one is if you can't do plant, if the recommendation by an astrologer or by somebody who knows the field is to donate, then obviously cow's milk is represented by Moon. You can do rice, so rice is also Moon. You can do shank, conch shell. You can donate that. That's a very auspicious thing to even keep in your house. But if your Moon is in that position and you have to look after it, then you can donate that. Other things is you can do sandalwood, and you can also do marshmallows and some other stuff which I've mentioned here. And predominantly, milk, rice, conch shell, and sandalwood is some common names which comes into your mind which you can donate. And the thing about donation is that most of the people don't get it. Is that they buy the stuff from the marketplace and they will just keep it packed, in a plastic wrapper or in a box, and they will just go and donate to somebody. And my suggestion to everyone is that whenever you donate, except the milk or even the milk, is that you should always use hands and touch that material, and keep it in your hand, give a good touch to it, and feel of it before you go and donate it. Don't just put it in a bag and go and do it without touching it, unless you touch with your hands, so that material you get a general. I suggest at least minimum 200 grams of anything, because that is good enough for anyone to eat. Right, 200 grams is minimum. But that's just a thumb rule I have applied. But people can choose up to whatever they want to do it. And because 2 is also, from numerology perspective, 2 is the number represented by Moon. So anything in the multiples of 2, whether it's 200 grams, 2 kgs, will always be beneficial when you do a donation, right? So you can do 20 kg, which is 2. You can do 200 kg, that is 2. 200 grams is again 2, right? So anything in the multiple of 2 will be represented by Moon.
Yes.
The next one is fasting. So as people who worship Krishna, specifically, anybody who follows ISKCON, they are pretty big on Krishna, so they do fasting on Purnima and Ekachi. So anybody who wants to do fasting, Ekachi is one of the best days for fasting. Obviously, you can do fasting on Purnima, which is the full moon day. and Monday is the day again is for moon as well, right? So anybody can do that way. You can do fasting. For wearing any gemstone, pearl is recommended, and pearl is always recommended in your little finger for wearing moon, so for controlling moon. And pearl is normally prescribed, or people have in gold, because gold's feel is more hot, whereas pearl's feel is supposed to be cooling you down. So that way silver helps you in cooling down your temperament, right? So anybody who has got an anger issue, normally people will recommend you to wear a pearl, but pearl has to be worn in a little finger and in silver. And the other one is you can do is, if you can't do that, you want to wear a rudraksh, which is again managed. You can say Lord Shiva is represented through rudraksh. So if you wear two mukhi, meaning you've got two lines in it or two faces in it, then that represents moon's rudraksha. On top of that, people can take precautions. People can do yoga as well. So you can do a simple one where you use one nostril and close another one and take and take your breathing from one and then release it from another one, right? So that's a very simple one. If people can do it, that will help you in controlling emotions. So that's a very popular one, which has been made popular by Baba Ramdev in India.
And it works.
Sorry?
And it works. It works.
Yeah, it does. So, and Anulom Vilom is just not for moon. It can be done for other planets as well, right? So, aspects of your planets, but also in terms of your health. It covers so many aspects of your health side. So Anulom Vilom is a very popular one. I recommend everyone. It's a simple one. If you do 5 to 10 minutes a day, it will help you. Yeah. And obviously there is Shwasana and Pranayama. Right? So these are the 8. I think these are the main key for moon. Obviously, there are a few more in the book which I have not covered in here. I guess the other thing which people should do is take precautions. So doing one part is okay, but also that doesn't mean that you do the remedy, but you still. It is important that when you do a remedy, you try to do a remedy in a more sattvic manner rather than in a rajasic or tamasic manner, right? So if you can do it in a sattvic manner, that is fantastic. But if you can't, at least take some precautions. So that's the point. So there are precautions that we mentioned for all the 12 houses in the book. So I've just captured 6th house because the placement of moon in 6th house is not good. Being a trick house, 6, 8, 12 placement of moon, which is your emotions. Sitting in 6th house is not going to really help you. So that's not a good place to be in. So if somebody having a moon in the 6th house, then the first thing is that you should try to avoid milk products at night. The reason being is that the significator of 6th is also Saturn. House. So if it goes at night, Saturn represents oil, and milk is another thing. Milk and oil don't go well, right? So the idea is that anything to do with milk products in the night, whether it is an ice cream, whether it is a cheese, whether it is yogurt, whether it is lassi, whatever it is, try to avoid milk products in the night.
Yes.
Other option is don't disclose your plans to anyone. Try to be secretive. And don't distribute free water, and do not drink, eat, or milk or dairy products at night. So that's what I said, right? Because the Saturn is the significator of the 6th house. So try not to do that. But again, depending upon how moon is placed, again, you need to have a proper guidance on it.
Yes, this is a very good point you mentioned, because doing something is good, but there has to be something which is not to be done.
Yeah. I guess the important thing, I've said in my first video, and I think Sunilji keeps saying, and most of the people who come on Saptarishis astrology, they mention that doing with the right approach, right attitude is good, but that doesn't mean the next day you start doing some wrong activity. You start abusing, or you start lying, or you start cheating. The whole purpose of doing remedy is to improve upon your karmas for the future. What you are suffering today is not because you are doing something, but it is also your karmic debt which you are facing, which there is nothing you can do but just to suffer, right? But that doesn't mean you do a remedy solution. And the other problem which most of the people come to me saying, sir, I have done this remedy, we have done this remedy, when it is going to fix. this is not an injection. You have put it in there and you get a resolution, right? It depends upon what is your karmic debt, how much debt you have, and so you have to balance that debt by doing good deeds. And remedies is nothing but just a good deed, right? You're trying to help nature in that way, right? So as long as you do good deeds, things will get better. But there is no quick fix solution for doing remedy means I will get it fixed. It's not going to work like that. And that is the sad part, or the real gist.
Yes, very true.
Okay. I guess so that's how the book is structured. In the first part, it covers all the different 8 types of remedies and precautions. The next one, obviously, then the book covers for all the 9 planets, specifically Saturn and Rahu, which most of the coverage in the book. So it is worthwhile going and looking in the book, and I would say it's a good on your shelf.
Yes.
As a reference point. So the next one then tackles the section is the theme-based remedies. So I've just taken out some theme-based remedies which is specifically to do with moon. So if you don't have a good relations with mother, obviously if moon is afflicted, then you can specifically say there is something wrong with emotions, or because moon is a significant of mother, then you can say there is something going on with your mother as well. So if you want to keep a good relations with mother, I anyway suggest, even if it is not afflicted, it is always handy to take silver coin from your mother as a blessing on Monday, and take it as a blessing, right? And I say, don't take 1 coin, take at least 2 coin. If you lose 1 coin in life, then at least you have second one to fall back on. Or you can take as many, but don't take 1, because if your mom, the mother and father are not going to live forever, but you're going to still live after them, right? So it's always have their blessings. So I always encourage everyone to take a silver coin or some silver thing which you can keep it with you. Specifically, if you sleep in the night, you can always keep that coin under your pillow, and it will give you if your moon is afflicted, you will see that it gives you a lot, because moon is afflicted, then your sleep is also impacted, right? Specifically on a new moon day, which is the Amavasya, right? So I've seen a lot of people have got disturbed sleep, right? So take that, keep it under your pillow, and use it. The other one I say is that it's not mentioned here, it's in the book, is that if you can, or maybe mention further down, is that drink water in a silver utensil. So if you have a silver cup or a glass, always prefer to drink water in that. That will just help you. It will calm down your emotions and also control your temperament. The other one which is being mentioned, and I think is being mentioned on Saptarishis Astrology a few times by other speakers as well, keep camphor, and if you have a camphor and inhale regularly, it will help you in controlling. That's just not to do for mother, but just to give you emotional support, to strengthen your emotional support will help you with that.
Yeah. Right.
There are some other generic remedies which I have just put in there. Drink a lot of water in silver glass. Respect your mother and all elderly women. Don't be awake late at night. That's something happen nowadays in a global world, that some people are late night workers like me, and I'm prone to this problem that I normally work late in the night even though I'm not supposed to. And some people wake up early in the morning. So waking up early in the morning is a good habit. I actually recommend everyone, whether it is a kid or an adult. But if you awake late night, that's not a good thing. Just scientifically as well, it's not good for health, but you're also not helping your moon. So if you're weak, if your moon is really weak or debilitated, I would highly encourage you to sleep early and wake up early in the morning. Yes. Sleeping late night is... the last one which I want to mention is, don't spill water in bathroom on its floor. I know my wife, and when I was growing up, my mother always used to say, take a bath, but make sure that the bathroom is clean after you come out. Don't let the floor. And bathroom is specifically where Saturn is. So if you have a toilet or a bathroom where Saturn is, it is always recommended not to spill water and keep it clean. So that's one thing I would recommend everyone. It's a good tip. You don't have to use it as an astrology, but just as a good tip.
Yeah, and it's a good habit actually.
Yes. All girls will be happy because they want more clean and tidiness, right? So if you're a mom, if you're a wife, or if you're a sister, they will say, please make sure I don't have to do more work, more work in the house. Okay. All right. Next section of the book then covers is the 27 constellations and nakshatras. So last time we covered Pushya Nakshatra. Every nakshatra has come with its basic info, which most of the people have already know who's working in this field. But if not, I've just put it again just to give you a flavor of what that nakshatra is, and what is its basic attributes and what zodiac it is in, and so forth. So there's one single view of that, and then obviously there are 5 different ways to tackle and do a remedy, because every planet eventually sits in a nakshatra, and so if you follow the concept of KP, you have a nakshatra and nakshatra sublord, right? So the things that result through nakshatra and the timing of the event is through the nakshatra sublord. So that is important to understand what the planet is sitting in which nakshatra.
Yes.
5 flavors to it. One is how to do your recitation, what puja, again, donation or charity, what plant, and then there are some other remedies which do it. But if you are actually aware of nakshatra and planet and you're good in astrology, then you can also come up with your own remedies. You don't have to just follow this, and that's the point I'm trying to say again.
Yes.
If you get a feel of it, just of the planet, just of the nakshatra, then you can come up with your own remedies. You don't have to just follow this. And so I've come up with so many remedies over the years which has worked and done well for my clients. But again, you can come up with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Further discussing that, let's go into that. So today we are just going to do the Jyeshta Nakshatra. So that's where this is a flavor of it, which is what you get in the book. What sign it is, what is the ruling planet, and what is the ruling deity. Even though the ruling planet have to cater in the ruling deity, because that's what you're going to make happy or try to control that. Obviously, symbol and symbol is very vital. You can always keep a symbol with you if it is your Janam Nakshatra or your Ascendant Nakshatra. Just looking at that, keep looking at that symbol will actually, activate or helps you in activating that nakshatra, right? So symbol plays a very important part. And then there are other key attributes like, what is the guna and what is the caste, what is the gender, right? So that will just help you. So that's there in the book. Let's go to the Jyeshta one, which is in Scorpio.
Yes.
So if you have to chant, you can do a simple mantra of Om Dham 108 times. If it is your moon nakshatra or is your ascendant nakshatra, you don't just have to do on it says Mercury, which is the ruling planet, which is for Wednesday, right? You don't have to do it on, or if it is on Mars, because it is sitting at Mars, so you can do it on Tuesday. I say to people that whenever you feel like, if it is your Janam nakshatra or ascendant nakshatra, you just do it anytime you feel like, but just recite with a proper faith. The faith has to be there, right? And that feeling has to be there. If it is just like Om Dham, it doesn't work. Right? You have to be just more ingrained into it, so that that even the deity also feels you are doing it with a sincere consciousness, not just doing it for the sake of doing it, right? So that feeling has to be there no matter what you do, and that's relevant for everything. The other one is to recite Vishnu Sahasranam. I'm a big fan of this one. That reciting, or if a lot of people say it takes half an hour to recite. Yes, it is a little bit long, but reciting Vishnu Sahasranam not only controls one nakshatra, it actually controls all the 27, because 27 into 4 is 108 verses. Yeah. And there are 27 into 4 is 108, and there are 108 verses in Vishnu Sahasranam, which tackles for all the 4 padas and all 27 nakshatras. So for this specific nakshatra, reciting Vishnu Sahasranam is very important. The other thing they can do is, if they can't find time, I find a lot of people in India, I recommend them even to listen it. You can listen every day on YouTube. There is a very good one by M.S. Lakshmi with subtitles. I think it's around about 30 minutes. If you just listen to it, specifically in the evening, will do really wonders for you. But Vishnu Sahasranam is the best remedy for this. In terms of to puja, again, you can do worship of Lord Vishnu, and also you can do worship of Goddess Durga or Goddess Kali as well, for that matter. Mm-hmm. As far as the nakshatra donation is concerned, you can donate an umbrella, or you can do a earring to somebody who needs it. Right. So donate. I've seen when I say to people, okay, go and donate an umbrella, what they will do is they will give somebody to a domestic help which is working in the house, or somebody in the house, or somebody who comes in the house. I normally suggest that if you want to do donation, go and give it to somebody who is not working in your house, somebody who is outside, but also who is a needy person, who is really in need. Because that person will give you so much blessing that if you get a blessing from somebody who is in need, and that will just do wonders for you.
Yes. Very true.
As far as the plant is concerned, you can take care of, there is a tree, I think in India called Kates Sour, but here, at least in Australia, there is another name to that. I forgot to put the English name, but you can say red silk cotton. So if you just search on Wikipedia or on Google, you will find what red silk cotton is. If you can plant or look after that thing, that will help you. Or even if you can keep the roots of that tree or keep the flower of that tree, that will help you in controlling that on this nakshatra. The other one is called Semal as well, but red silk cotton is more popular for people to use or to look after that. Now, because it's a nakshatra, so there are other remedies which have kept which have mentioned here, which is in the book as well. But if you think like what is Mars? Mars represents number 9, and Mercury represents number 5. So you can and depending upon what you wanna control it or what you wanna try to tackle it, you can take 5 or 9 green bangles, which is glass bangles. So glass bangles, green basically representing Mercury, or some cash, and also 1.25 kgs of green lentils, which is hari moong.
Yes.
Here in India, right? So you can do it, put it in a 1.15 meter cloth, or any green cloth. You can go and give it to somebody on a Tuesday, right? So the idea behind this is that you take the aspect of Mars, you take the aspect of Mercury. So you take some theme of Mercury. So you can take a number in terms of the weight, or you can take some item which represents Mercury and then donate on Tuesday, because Jyeshta is sitting on in Mars, right? So you can do donation on Tuesday or Wednesday, but again, depends upon which one you're trying to control more. That's something you can make.
Yes. Right.
The other one is this is something which we do mostly in the Western countries, is that when people are not happy here, people don't use horns or honking. For vehicles back in India, people honk every time. Here they don't honk, but if really somebody made a mistake and they get angry, they will just use a middle finger to show their anger, or they will honk, right? So that doesn't happen mostly in the Western world, at least here in Australia and in US I have seen that. But back in India, people use honking. Middle finger is not used that much. But again, it's a recommendation not to use the middle finger to show a disrespect to another one. Again, keeping a picture of umbrella or earring is just to do with the symbology of this nakshatra. So again, anybody whose Janam nakshatra is in any specific planet, keeping a symbol or watching that symbol every day is just another way of getting the relief.
Yes.
Right. So these are 5 different flavors, and obviously that is covered in the book with the attributes. So with this we have covered 2. But last time we covered Pushya, today we covered Jyeshta. So that will just give another flavor how things are being tackled in the book. The other things which is being covered are the Shivalinga Abhishek, what type of mat to use, whom to worship on each lunar day, and how to use peacock feather. So I've given some extra what are the other nice things to have you can do in life. So these are just some flavors to that which is mentioned in the book.
Wonderful.
Okay, sorry, you want to say something?
No, go ahead. Okay,
so the next part of the book is, so we covered 9 planets, we covered 27 nakshatras. The next part is the balancing of the 16 zones. So I've been practicing Vastu, with my mother for nearly, for me at least, it's around about 6 to 8 years now in Vastu, but my mother has been practicing. But there is a new flavor to Vastu, which has come in last, I would say last 5 to 6 years, where the concept of Vastu previously, what I figured out was that, if something is wrong, you demolish that part and you build something else, right? And that was a typical way of tackling the Vastu problems. Whereas the Vastu which we are practicing, or at least I am practicing nowadays, has not to do with anything to do with destruction or anything. It is more about controlling your energy zones, or if you've got 16 different directions, how do you balance that energy zone? So if there is there something wrong which is being kept in that zone and it is not supposed to be there, then what is the way you tackle that energy, and how do you resolve that? So the balancing of 16 zones is important, rather than going and doing a wholesale laundry, destruction of your house, or laundry list of your issues, and then try to tackle it with, fixing things can be tackled. Obviously, if the house was built with proper consultation in the beginning, you wouldn't have that. But in reality, people don't buy houses or live in houses which are Vastu compliant. So you have to tackle that problem. Mm-hmm. So last time I think I covered north direction. Hang on, have I put here north? Yeah. So I think last time I covered north. So that slide is still here. But what I'm going to cover is south today. So north is represented by Mercury, but south is where is represented by Mars. And so the southern direction of your house, or where you live in, is predominantly fame, recognition, and social reputation. So it is very important to if you're in the business world and you want fame, then you must look after your south. Obviously, the element is fire. The shape which is represented is triangle, and the thing which is meant, which is important to remember, is when you have a house which is more rectangular shape. So that means one length is more, depending upon which side of that. If the south has got more, if it is a north and south axis based, a rectangle means east and west are low. That means the south is more long as compared to east and west, north and south. So when a house is more long in south, which means it is red, which is Mars, then the problem is that then that energy is more as compared to the other energies. So then the red element energy is more as compared to the east and west energy, right? And obviously east and west has less energy of that. So that imbalance is obviously there. So anything which is not in harmony causes an issue, whether it is less or more. Having anything less, more is also a problem. So keeping that in harmony is required. So in the Vastu terminology, you can say if it is more, that means that is a low strength of that energy, and extended means high strength of energy. So if it is more, then it will make you more sleepy and lethargic in your attitude. If it is less, then you get a little bit. You don't get that much sleep, and you don't get that much relaxation in your body. So for each zone, there are different ways to tackle it, and these are not the solutions which are here. But I've just put it here, but this is not the only solution. You need to consult somebody. This is not just go and putting something there, but that's the way you do it. I guess the preferred option in south is bedroom. That's where is a more of a relaxation area. That's where you go in and relax. So south is is not the only option, but is one of the areas where you can have bedrooms. Because it is a fire element, we would recommend anyone not to put any water. If you put a water element in that direction, it will just exhaust, right? So fire and water will just become a steam. So it's not a good idea, right?
Yes, right.
Toilets is highly recommended. Toilet is nothing but activity of waste, because that's where you go in and take out all the waste of your body. So toilet is not recommended in south. The other thing to remember is that in Vastu, the energy flow has to be from south and north, and from west to east. So any slope from north to south is bad, right? So you should not have slopes to south. The energy flow has to be from south to north. So the slope has to be from south to north. So if you have slopes there, then you need to tackle that. Then that will give issues in the house.
Yeah. Right.
Some of the remedial items. The only one, but keeping 12 running red horses or 2 red horses in south normally helps you, specifically if it is in southeast, more to do with your cash flow. But you can also light in India they call what is it called? You can light a red lamp, like a 24/7 red lamp, which is 0 watt, which is predominant like a 12 watt or 15 watt. But if you light it, if the zone doesn't have that red element is less, then you can always use like a 24/7 red element.
Yeah.
So that way you have got 16 directions. So every direction is meant for each specific purpose, and you can also mix Vastu with astrology, which is what Vastu and Astro combination that actually gives fantastic results if you combine both of them. So depending upon upon where is Mars is sitting in, or what element or what planet is representing that southern part, or Mars, where Mars is sitting in, you can actually figure it out. What is the position of Mars in your chart? And if it's in 6th house, 8th house, or 12th house, then you know what is going on, right?
Yeah.
You know the house, and you look at the house, and you look at the southern part, and then you can connect with your astrology and see what planet is sitting in south, so that you can control, or you can manage that. So that's one way. That's another direction we have covered, but there is more. I think that I put some theme-based remedies as well here. So not only the 16 directions are covered with recommended options, but then I've also covered specific problems, as we did in the case of planets. So if people are having issues in career progression and prospects, right? So for career, the thing to remember is that sun plays a big part as well in people's career, or higher authorities, for example, if you want to go in higher up in the chain. So in that respect, things which for your career is hanging a brass sun picture in east is recommended. But again, these remedies has to be looked into the context of your horoscope or context of your house. You just can't say, okay, it is my career, and I just go in and look at sun. A career might be signified by Saturn.
Yes.
Look at Saturn, not just sun, right? So I just give some scenarios here. For northeast, you can put a picture of Buddha. Northeast prominently is Jupiter. So if Jupiter is a vital planet in your career progression, then you look at that. North is represented by Mercury, which is a water element. So Mercury is a big player in your career, or is 10th lord, say for example, or 6th lord, or sitting in the 6th house. Then you might want to have a look at it. What is happening with the 10th and the 6th lord, right? The 6th is service, 10th is your karma. So depending upon which planet is sitting where, you tackle that, and each planet represents each direction in the Vastu, right? So north is Mercury, east is Sun, north is Jupiter, south is Mars, right? So and west is Saturn, northwest is Moon. So like that. I guess the other one which a lot of people have asked me, they have a lot of sleeping problems, and that goes back to the moon, right? If your moon is not well placed, you will always have sleeping problems. But one of the areas where you can sleep is south. The other recommended is southwest and west. And people who are sick, I think covered from the last time. It is still here. This line is from the last slide, but on last time's slide is that people are want to sleep in the area which is called as the healing and the solution area. So people who are sick and are doing a recovery from sleep in that zone of your house, so that it will help you in recovery of that. But once you have recovered, then come back to your usual place of sleeping. It is not recommended to sleep all the time, but if you are recovering from an ailment or a sickness, then you come back and sleep. So that's one of the areas you can sleep, but only while you are recovering.
Yeah.
The next one is decluttering, and I think I covered last time with Astrology as well. I'm actually a big fan of decluttering. Yes, we do astrology, we do Vastu, but decluttering plays a very important part in our life. And the concept is very simple, and I honestly believe that we should do a lot of decluttering. So the idea behind decluttering is that you have a space in the house or place where you live. You should get only items which you require in your day-to-day use. The item which has not been used for more than 12 months, right? And in Indian context, that's probably a very that duration is very, very small, or that duration is not enough, because people keep things for nearly 20, 30 years. And I know in my house, in my parents' house, my mom has kept stuff for last 20 years, and no matter how much I say to them, let it go out, they will not let it go, right? So we always have fight with my mom and dad. Okay, there's no point in keeping that, but people still have that emotional connect to it. They want to keep it in memories. But the point is simple, right? You keep the stuff in the house which you use regularly, and which there is a place for it. The stuff which you buy or the stuff you have in the house doesn't have a place, will keep moving around here and there because there is no place for it, right?
Yes.
So I say to everyone that keep things minimal. Before you buy the stuff, at least figure it out where that stuff is going to be, or where that item is going to be kept in the house. If you haven't found a place for that, item to be kept in the house, then that item will keep moving from bedroom to study to the living room, because nobody knows where it is to be kept. Right? And it is a disrespect to that item as well. Everything in this life has, yes, it is sometimes things are non-living, yes, but every item has to be paid gratitude. You must pay gratitude. So the idea behind decluttering is you kept minimal stuff, but also have gratitude to every object you use. So the book covers about some of the key things. How do you organize your clothes? How do you organize your socks? Socks is nothing but Venus. So, I say a lot of people, and I have done mistakes in my life, that I sometimes wear socks which are torn out, right? So you don't wear a socks which is, if you have it, then throw it away, right? Even clothes, you wear clothes, but if they are ripped, don't wear them. Just donate them or let them go, right? Shoes are your satin, right? So put your shoes properly organized, right? Books, again, books have to be there. A lot of people keep a lot of books. I say, if you haven't used a book, unless it is a reference book, which you keep, referring in 1 year, 2 years. If there is a book which hasn't been used for more than 2 years or, more than 12 months, then there is no place in the house. You just donate it. Give it to somebody else. They will give you more happiness. But don't keep the stuff in the house which you have not used more than 12 months.
Yeah.
And say, no, sorry, I might be able to use it in 12 months, or might be. That concept of, might be able to use again will never work. If you have not tried any clothes in last, likely that you will wear that cloth again. It is highly unlikely, right? Sometimes we buy because we didn't like it, but we liked something else, but we bought it as a compromise because it was more in my budget. But we bought it. But after that, wearing I don't like it. So idea is, don't buy stuff which has not been. Don't buy the stuff which doesn't have a place. And if there is an item in the house which has been there for more than 12 months and hasn't been used, I suggest that it go. The day of decluttering is Saturday. So no matter what you do in 7 days of the week, the day to clean out is Saturday. Right? So you must let the stuff go out on Saturday. Another thing to remember is, a lot of people buy stuff on Saturday. I always say to people or to my clients, don't buy anything on Saturday. Saturday is the day when you should do donation, and decluttering is the day for. Saturday is also the day for decluttering. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I mentioned is that last time I mentioned that. So in the book, it talks about how to organize few things, and I think it is worthwhile going and reading that. I think I've covered in my last video as well. But one thing which came to me in a lot of consultations after the first interview was that, how do you, when you go and enter the house, is there anything specific you do? And so this is a big thing that I've suggested. I think I've suggested in the book that when you enter your house, always enter with a feeling that you're entering a shrine, right? So have that feeling of gratitude, and have that feeling of compassion in you, that when you enter a house, you feel, I'm entering a shrine. I'm coming to a place where I live, and how lucky I am.
Yes.
In this world, who even is living on the street. So always have that feeling of compassion and gratitude when you enter a house. It is always recommended as well to bring something when you enter a house. You can't buy a thing every day, but even if you pluck a leaf from a plant and take that before plucking it and enter the house with leaf in your hand, that will still help you. But to the point of the house, yes, come with a gratitude, but anything you have in the house, you should have, just move around here and there, find the place and organize them. The lesser the stuff in the house is, the lesser the energy flow is better, and the lesser your complexities or your distraction in the life is less. The more stuff you have in the house, believe me, it just adds more pain and misery, nothing else.
Yes.
That's my point. So I suggest people to go in and figure it out and read more in it, because there is more details in the book, how to organize and how few do things on each aspects of life on decluttering. So that's a worthy read on decluttering. With this, I'm actually pretty much done, Madhura. I've just, a lot of people have asked me, where do you practice and so forth. So I've just put a slide here at the end which tells you my contact details and my Facebook page. So I've got 2 Facebook pages. People can reach me on that, and so people can talk to me on that. And this is the And this is the book which is available on Amazon.com. If people want to buy the print version, they can go to saptarishiastrology.com as well. The print version is available, but mostly people are who's looking to buy easily and simple, just go to Kindle and buy that book. There has been some good reviews as well, so people will find it quite handy to look at that.
Right.
With this, the last one is again just a contact information here. But with this, I'm pretty much. I think I just want to say again, thank you to Sunil ji, and obviously thank you to Anuradha ji, because she helped me in edit for helping me out. But in all, thank you to Saptarishi Astrology team and to you to giving me this opportunity again. Intention is to write few more books. I just need to find some time to organize myself. But again, thank you with my sincere appreciation to Saptarishi Astrology, Sunil ji, and to all the team members. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Vishal ji, and we look forward for more books from you. And I hope all the readers and all the viewers of Saptarishis Astrology definitely go and check out the book on Kindle, and also it is available on Saptarishis shop as well. So
yeah.
Please read the book. It is really beautiful. It contains all the varieties of remedies and for planets, nakshatras, and everything at one place. So guys, do check out, and thank you so much, Vishal ji, once again. Thank you so much.